Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general mid-month reading for the sign of Pisces, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the last 2 weeks of May. I hope you will. I'm using the Shadowscapes for you today, which is interesting because this deck hasn't come out for you for quite a while. Well, here it is. So if you haven't seen these videos before, I structure them slightly differently to how I do the main monthly readings, in so much as we are looking for the lesson. Now, over the years, I've found that it is easier to navigate challenging energy if I can work out exactly what it is that's trying to be taught to me at this point, right? As I see everything as a lesson. So, to that end, what I will do is pull 3 cards for your current energy, and then we'll pull 3 cards for what the energy of this is trying to teach you at this point. Sometimes it's trying to teach you something, sometimes it's just laying the groundwork for what comes next. I won't know until the cards hit the table. So yeah, we'll finish up with 3 cards of advice. If that hasn't made sense, bear with me, because I'm sure it will by the end of the reading. I find it a helpful tool, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. So let's get 3 cards for Pisces, please. What is Pisces' current energy? We have the 5 of Pentacles. We have, let's get them out, the Tower, and we have the 2 of Pentacles. It's difficult energy, Pisces, so I'm not going to fib there. We've got the 8 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck there. That is a card that speaks of toiling away at something, you know, to achieve mastery. We've got a spider sat on a web there, you know, kind of weaving and trying to put things in place for survival, really. And the cards that we've got down here, the 5 of Pentacles, the Tower and the 2 of Pentacles, feel like you're in an energy of trying to deal with big shifts that are going on with you at the moment. Now, remember enough about your monthly readings to know that by and large, this is by your own hand, right? This is you bringing the Tower to your situation. It kind of feeling, I wouldn't necessarily say long overdue, but because you've done it when it was the right time for you. But there's been an aspect of your existence that has been given over to what everybody else wants, what everybody else needs, and you are slowly but surely working towards what is right for you. You know, I'm going to shut the window because I can see some King Charles Spaniels coming down the road, being very woofy. For a lot of time you have ignored your own basic needs for what is right for everybody else, and that's been the thing that's been shifting and changing. Now, what's happened is that you've been kind of mentally putting all of this stuff in place for quite a long time, but it feels like this is the point where you've shared it with other people now. The other people are kind of having their 2 pennies worth about it. The 5 of Pentacles for me is a card of not meeting your own basic needs. Right? It talks about isolation, it talks about loneliness, it talks about being left out in the cold. That's the one that the tarot readers like the most. But ultimately, it comes down to your needs not being met. And, you know, because we're all about taking responsibility for ourselves and that sort of thing, you know, there has to be an element of you having allowed that to happen. Well, I feel like this is a boundary for you now. This is a portcullis that you are, you know, dropping down and saying, actually, no, I'm going to do what is right for me here. The interesting thing is, in the Shadowscapes there, I don't know if you can see it, we have a soul person stood there, and there is a butterfly. That's what's in that ball just there, a butterfly. But it's in some sort of bubble, and like I'm saying, the butterfly is a symbol of transformation, but currently your transformation is stuck within a bubble. It's not quite at the point where it can happen yet. And we have the Tower right next to it. Yeah, this Tower that you are trying really hard to bring, and it does feel like, you know, other people are the ones who are stopping you from popping that bubble from around the butterfly and letting it soar in the way that it wants to. The final card in your current energy is the 2 of Pentacles, which is a card that talks about balance, but, you know, ultimately juggling, right? Trying to get everything in the right place to do what it is that you need to do. But because it's a 2, it's about the internal space. So it feels to me a little bit like, despite all of the plans that you've laid, despite everything that you've tried to put in place, as this tower, as the extent rather of the tower has been revealed to other people, it's kind of put you back in a place of being like, am I doing the right thing? Is this, you know, right for me? It's kind of like your internal juggling about how you feel about this, because ultimately what Pisces want is harmony, and we don't want anybody to be feeling kind of tower stricken on account of us or you. Right? I'm sitting in your energy, so it's us, right? It's a difficult energy to navigate, but the thing is that I'm absolutely certain that you still know that this is the right thing for you. But where it is that you are struggling with other people's reactions and your own instinctive reactions of old are set against what you know is right for you in future. Let's have a look at the lesson. Why is Pisces feeling like this at the moment? Oh gosh, got a ton of cards all came out together there. We've got the Seven of Pentacles, the King of Swords, the Lovers and the Hermit. Well, I'm going to take all of those. There you are at the bottom of the deck as the Knight of Cups. Followed by the Empress, and look at the imagery on the Empress there. She's got butterflies in her basket and she's sending them out into the air like they are flying, those ones. The Empress is all about abundance and fertility and the creation of the new, you know, what the new things that you are trying to bring in towards you at the moment. The new start that you are trying to set up for yourself. The energy of this lesson for you involves judgment and decision making, right? Two things that Pisces often can be rather notorious for not engaging with that much, right? Because the will of the collective is so important for you, and what, you know, individuals within that collective need being the important thing. Your judgments have all seemed hitherto to revolve around that. I've often described Pisces as the glue that holds collectives together, you know, because you're quite happy to put everybody else's needs before your own, but for whatever reason it is now time to put you first. And I think the reason is because you're just not getting from this collective situation what it was. Or you're not getting from it the same levels of satisfaction that you used to. You know, the Seven of Pentacles is all about that harvest that doesn't come, you know, despite all of the effort that you've put into it, not getting the return on the investment that you've put in. Now, I think often that makes it sound like a fairly mercenary sort of situation. You know, you've been doing what was right for everybody else because ultimately at some point it would feed you, you know, and that's not really how it works, but it kind of is how it works too, you know. If you were truly content, you would stay where you were. But one doesn't grow by staying within one's comfort zone, and it feels like that's what you're trying to leave, right? You're trying to get out of your comfort zone and go towards something else, something that ultimately will be more fulfilling for you personally. Excuse me, hiccuping. Because right in the centre, we've got that King of Swords and we've got the Lovers card. Now, these are both cards that talk about decision making, right? The King of Swords for me is the final arbiter on things. If the Queen of Swords is the one who goes through the information and sifts it and works out what is important, what is not, you know, what is relevant, what is not, you know, the high level of discernment with the Queen of Swords, then ultimately she presents it to the King, and the King is the one who makes the decision on this. It's about stepping up and making decisions, just as the Lovers card is about conscious co-creation, right? It's about stepping up and making those decisions about your life. Notice that the King of Swords is, you know, obviously depicted as a solo figure here in this. There's something isolating about pulling yourself out of the dynamic that you have been in, right? But there's great wisdom for you in doing that, because it seems to be about the pursuit of you and who you are. You know, the final card that we've got here is the Hermit, and the Hermit is looking directly at these two cards in the center. What are you going to decide? What are the decisions that you are going to make about your life? If you want things to change, if you want to follow your intuition wherever it's guiding you, then you really do need to be able to step up and advocate for yourself and what it is that you want, right? And not be swayed from that. I'm sure the monthly reading was something along the lines of, don't be letting people talk you out of what it is that you're trying to do here, because they are. And that, to a degree is giving you an opportunity to flex those muscles that you have spent so much time building here in the pursuit of the self. It's one thing to erect boundaries, it's quite another to enforce them. And this feels like an enforcement test for you. And I don't really like the word test, because it plays into the notion that this is something that you can pass or fail, and I don't like that. It's more of a test of resilience, It's testing your boundaries to see where they need work. Okay? So if you're struggling at the moment and you are feeling like you are second guessing yourself, you're feeling yourself perhaps drawn towards old modes of behaviour for the benefit of the harmony of the collective, then that is showing you, it's a great big signpost that's showing you what it is that you need to work on. Now, let's have a look at some cards of advice for Pisces. We've got the King of Cups, we have the Magician, we have the Three of Pentacles in reverse with the Six of Wands. That is really fascinating. The Six of Wands is a Leo card, and it speaks about victory, right? It talks about, what's the word? I've completely forgotten. Triumphing through adversity, I guess, right? The King of Cups is a step up from the Knight of Cups. The King of Cups is a true mastery of one's emotions. If you are feeling tested now, then this is the reason why, because you are being pushed out of your comfort zone, right? Now, most Pisces that I've met are the most emotionally articulate sign, right? One of the most emotionally articulate signs. You just know things innately, but often at the expense of knowing your own emotions and knowing what it is that you feel about something, because it's always been less important than what the collective felt about it, the group dynamic, stuff like that. This is kind of pushing you towards taking ownership of every aspect of your own emotions, and then getting a sense of how powerful you are. It's the Magician. You're powerful in your own right, Pisces, without the group behind you. And you have every tool that you need. If you really stopped and thought about it, you have every tool that you need to create every aspect of the life that it is that you want. Both the Lovers and the Magician are cards of strong manifestation. You're so very, very close to breaking away from this situation and creating for yourself the life that you want. The Three of Pentacles here is in reverse. The Three of Pentacles is a card that talks about cooperation and collaboration and teamwork, and actually the important message for you here is that it isn't always about that. Sometimes you have to stand alone, and particularly when you are pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, that is important. But I think that there is true magic to be tapped into here for you, Pisces, if you stick with this for just a little bit longer, right? Don't let it overwhelm you. Just stick with it and trust yourself, because there's an immense amount of wisdom that you have at your disposal. There's just an aspect of perception that needs to be shifted here for you to truly access it to its fullest extent. Okay, Pisces, I'm going to leave it there. Really interesting. Really interesting. So know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.